I love Halloween. The world of Fallout also loves Halloween. Sure, most of that is because the bombs fell a week before it, but hey, there's nothing wrong with the wasteland being littered with pumpkin decorations and little trick-or-treating baskets. But just because the world ended doesn't mean we don't get to celebrate holidays anymore. There's a surprising amount of horror-themed content in Fallout 4, so we're gonna hit all of it. I've devised a very solid plan to make my way through, in order, Pickman Gallery, Dunwich Borers, the Museum of Witchcraft, Grandchester Mystery Mansion, and the Enclave All Hallows Eve quest. Since I'll be doing this on a completely new save, combat is gonna be tricky at the beginning. That's why we're going to raider-populated areas first, then moving on to bigger challenges like a Deathclaw and just traversing Nuka World. Once I finish my Commonwealth-wide haunted tour, I'll return to Sanctuary to decorate my house for Halloween. Since this is a Halloween adventure, it would feel wrong to play as a good-looking regular person.
My beautiful wife.
I designed this monstrosity, named after everyone's favorite Halloween establishment, and gave her fairly random special stats. I figured having high endurance would be a good call, considering I'm going to be very low level for the whole run. The only other preparation I made before heading off on my spooky journey was recruiting dog meat at Red Rocket Truck Stop.
You want to come with me?
Surely you people don't expect me to go to all these scary places without an emotional support animal. Pickman Gallery is one of several H.P. Lovecraft references in the Bethesda Fallout games. We'll see another one later. Pickman Gallery is named after Pickman's model, a short story about a painter named Richard Upton Pickman whose works of art were so graphic and disturbing that he was ostracized from the Boston art community. Very fitting for this game, don't you think? Fallout 4's Pickman is an artist of haunting paintings too. He's also a serial killer of raiders, which in terms of bad things you can be in the wasteland, that's not so unacceptable to me. I mean, at least he only wants to kill fellow serial killers and not innocents. The building is in the northeast section of downtown Boston, next to the Old North Church and a graveyard that I accidentally ran through, causing a bunch of feral ghouls to follow me to the door. I didn't really plan on wasting my very limited ammo on them, so I went inside as fast as I could. Entering the building, the gallery is immediately to the left. There's a pile of what I can only describe as blended flesh in the middle of the room, with some bookcases knocked over on top, and all of Pickman's paintings are on the walls. This one, called Picnic for Stanley, will be important later. But before I can further inspect the art, I first have to kill all these raiders. This isn't an area where the game expect you to be a super high level or anything, but they definitely expect you to be more than level 3, which is what I was when I went in. I hadn't done anything to prepare for this, no collecting ammo or building up weapons or armor or anything. I literally just sprinted from the vault to the gallery. As such, it was stupidly easy for raiders to kill me with just a couple gunshots. I switched between any and every gun I had gotten my filthy little hands on since I was running out of ammo at basically every turn. Should I have prepared for this? Yes. Did I want to waste all that time collecting stuff and building a good character? No, I have school. Lucky for me, this dungeon isn't too complicated or lengthy, unlike our next destination. I made it to the final room after only dying a couple times and confronted the raider boss who was about to kill the titular Pickman.
Finally got you, Pickman. Thought you could hunt and torture our people to your heart's content? I'm gonna enjoy killing you.
At first I was worried that I wasn't going to be strong enough to take down the raiders before they could kill him, but Molotov cocktails work better than you'd think. Plus I'm pretty sure Pickman is unkillable since he took almost no damage during the entire fight. Afterwards, as a thanks for my help, Pickman gave me the key to his safe hidden behind the painting Picnic for Stanley. I went back around to the front of the gallery, took the painting off the wall, and emptied the safe. Inside is a unique legendary combat knife called Pickman's Blade, which has the wounding and stealth effects. I'm not usually a fan of melee weapons, especially small ones, but I wasn't about to turn my nose up at the first potentially useful thing I had gotten so far. Upon leaving Pickman Gallery, I felt that I had just struggled with something that should be way easier than it was. This had to be remedied. I went to Diamond City so I could have access to a bunch of traders, that way I could buy more ammo in the very likely event that I would need more. While I was there, I also got a couple perks since I'd been ignoring that so far. Because it's Halloween, I figured Bloody Mess would be a good perk to get. I also picked the Cannibal perk for the first time ever in my life. I've been playing Fallout 4 pretty much since it came out 9 years ago, and not once have I ever wanted to eat somebody in that game. But it's Halloween and I can't really think of anything scarier than seeing this face consume another human. Well, maybe Dunwich Borers will be scarier. Without doing any further preparations, we now arrive at our second Lovecraft reference of the video. Dunwich Borers is named after the Dunwich Horror. This story follows an abnormal looking and smelling young man named Wilbur who, with the help of his grandfather, tends to an eldritch monster hidden on a farm. At the end, Wilbur dies and the monster escapes, revealing that it was Wilbur's twin brother the whole time. Pretty messed up! The quarry isn't the first instance of the Dunwich Horror being referenced in Fallout, though. In Fallout 3, we learned of a company called Dunwich Borers LLC, which was used by its founder to conduct secret archaeological digs related to a supernatural entity known as Ugg Qualtoth. Long story short, there's an eldritch monster at the bottom of this mine, and we're gonna go down there and say hello. Dunwich Borers is an absolutely massive and open location, meaning there's more raiders than usual, and they can get to you really easily. I spent about 15 minutes just taking out raiders on the outside section. As reluctant as I was at first, I was actually enjoying the cannibal perks so much. It's nice to have free food around to get my health up. I even got into the habit of leaving bodies behind for later in case I got beat up too hard and needed something to eat to heal. I hope no one ever takes that out of context. The real horror of Dunwich Borers doesn't start until after the steamer trunk at the bottom of the inside dig site. You'd think that the dungeon ends here since the trunk with all the loot is found after you finish killing all the raiders. If that were the case, this place would not be in this video. On the raider boss's terminal, there are 3 diary entries. The first entry mentions that the raiders have been whispering to themselves about the things down in the mine. The second says that a crew went deeper into the mine to deal with the feral ghouls but never returned. And the third? I'll just let you read it. Clearly, Dunwich Borers is more than just some quarry. The raiders here have been affected by Ugqual Toth, and while I should be wary of an otherworldly monster, I couldn't resist the call of the door leading further down into the mine. There are several moments where you receive flashbacks of a time gone by. These are workers from before the war who became ghoulified in their place of employment. There were way more ghouls down here than I was prepared for. I ended up using a lot of explosives rather than ammo since I felt more comfortable using that for crowd control. I still died plenty of times though. I mean, I was only level 6. This is like if a newborn bird became the president. Highly unqualified, extremely weak, and shouldn't even be here. Nearing the end of the dungeon, I came across a terminal containing a holotape called Dunwich Tim Shoots. In it, Tim implies that he and other higher-ups at Dunwich Borers LLC are aware of why they're really doing these digs, but they don't want anyone else finding out. Walking through a small cavern, we see the final flashback of Dunwich Borers, candles lining the walkway, an ancient religious altar in the center, and worshippers before it on their knees. The flashback ended and feral ghouls, all with names pertaining to characters mentioned in these pre-war dig site stories, came out to attack me. It took some time, but I picked them all off one by one, then went back to the cavern to claim my prize. Swimming down a hole of irradiated water, I found the altar now sunken into the earth, bearing mini nukes and a unique legendary machete called Krempf's Tooth. It does additional bleeding and poison damage, plus it comes with this super cool sacrificial blade mod. I ended up using this as sort of a main weapon for the rest of the run. After Dunwich Borers, I felt a little aimless. Sure, I was able to complete both that and Pickman Gallery without any major glaring issues, but the rest of the tasks I had given myself wouldn't be so straightforward. My next stop would be the Museum of Witchcraft, which if you don't know, only has one enemy, a very strong and very angry Deathclaw. I knew that there was no way for me to defeat a Deathclaw with just Krempf's Tooth, mostly leather armor, and like 3 stim packs. If that thing were to pick me up, it would probably be a one-shot kill. So unlike before, I knew I had to do some planning. I first went to the Museum of Freedom in Concord to meet and assist the Minutemen. I wasn't at all interested in joining their cause. Instead, I came here for the free power armor and minigun.
We're talking a full suit of cherry T-45 power armor. Military issue.
I like it.
I wasn't too sure about using the minigun against the Deathclaw since I just don't love that weapon, but the power armor would give me the protection I needed in the museum. While I was there, I had a lot of fun using Krempf's Tooth against all these low-level raiders. I wonder how Preston felt about enlisting the help of a disfigured woman named after a holiday store who eats people right in front of him. Once I had gotten the power armor situation squared away, I went to Good Neighbor. There's a fat man and a mini nuke sitting right out in the open behind Cleo at her weapons store. Stealing is without a doubt my favorite activity in Fallout, so naturally I took both of those. It might be risky to use a nuclear bomb inside, but I couldn't think of any other easily accessible weapons that would be strong enough to kill a Deathclaw quickly. Finally, I arrived at the Museum of Witchcraft. Where better to have a witch museum than in Salem, the home of hating witches? Don't let my sarcasm fool you. This is actually one of my favorite dungeons in all of Fallout 4 because of its physical storytelling and sound design. Upon arrival, I found that the front door was locked from the inside. Instead, I would have to enter through the basement. Outside is the corpse of a gunner containing a holotape called Private Heart's holotape. The unmistakable roar of a Deathclaw can be heard in the recording.
Connors! Where's the rest of him?
Jesus. Found us.
There are a couple jump scares in this basement, which I think is fun. Fallout has always had the potential to do horror, and while I don't think this dungeon is the best use of scary things in the Fallout universe, I do have to admit that I did jump at one of the scares in here. I especially love this part where you can see a gunner's arm hanging through the ceiling with pieces of flesh dropping down as if the Deathclaw is eating this person, and then the body is dragged away. I think that's such a good idea, and I wish they had done more of this kind of thing in Fallout 4. But I digress. Upstairs is the actual museum. I knew that the Deathclaw was waiting for me somewhere up here, so I immediately pulled out my Fat Man and got ready to shoot. I only had 3 mini nukes, so I'd have to make them count. The Deathclaw noticed me when I was sneaking around looking for it, and I didn't hesitate to shoot. The first shot did less damage than I was expecting, but I was assuaged by the fact that I had 2 more mini nukes to rely on. Turns out that was the exact correct amount of mini nukes needed to kill this Deathclaw, so the fight was over within a minute. That's not to say I did well, though. Thanks to my own inaccuracies, I ended this fight with literally 1 health point left. In a bathroom, there's another holotape on the floor, this one from a Sergeant Lee. He says that the reason the Deathclaw targeted his group is because they stole her eggs to sell to Wellingham, the Mr. Handy from Diamond City. All but one of the eggs are destroyed. Listening to this holotape gives a quest to either return the pristine egg to its nest or to complete the gunner's job by bringing the egg to Wellingham. I chose to do neither. I went through all that trouble to get into this museum and kill that Deathclaw. If anyone deserves to keep that egg, it's me. It'll make a nice decoration in my Halloween house later. Fallout 4 doesn't even give you the quest to go to Nuka World until you're level 30. Obviously, this DLC is not meant for low-level players, but I'm brave and maybe a little stupid, so I don't care. I walked from Sanctuary down to the Nuka World Transit Center so I could take the tram to the theme park. The Transit Center is home to a lot of gunners, complete with an assaultron, but I made quick work of them. Inside, a man named Harvey is dying and mentions that the raiders in Nuka World have his family. Having played this before, I know he's lying. He too is a raider trying to trick me into entering their trap. I'm gonna go to Nuka World regardless, but I don't appreciate being lied to, so I killed him. My excuse is it's Halloween, killing is scary. Once you get to the theme park, the raiders inform you over the intercom that you must participate in a deadly series of trials called the Gauntlet. But did you know that you don't actually have to do the Gauntlet to get into Nuka World? At the beginning of the Gauntlet, there's a door that's chained on the other side, but if you position yourself just right, you can undo the chain and walk right out. I foolishly forgot that doing this prevents you from going back to the Commonwealth, but I was too distracted with the goal at hand. I was more concerned with going to our 4th stop, Grandchester Mystery Mansion. This place sucks. There's really nothing nice to say about it. To be fair, that is kind of the point of Grandchester Mystery Mansion. It's supposed to be a poorly designed, unscary haunted house. Even the ticket robot outside says that it's suitable for children as young as 5.
Not suitable for children under 5.
The mansion tells the story of a disturbed little girl named Lucy Grandchester who blamed her violence on her abusive parents, Morticia and Hannibal. Lucy was put into a mental asylum after she killed both of them, but escaped and ended her own life following her 18th birthday. Her ghost is supposed to haunt the mansion, but I didn't see it a single time. Instead, what I did see was a collection of obnoxious traps set by a gunner who lives on the top floor. None of this ended up being as scary as I would have liked it to be, but I can't really do a Fallout 4 Halloween video without including the literal haunted house. I was in low spirits when I left Grandchester Mystery Mansion because I finally remembered that I needed to do the Gauntlet to go home. Somewhat controversially, Nuka World is my favorite DLC, so I'm very familiar with the Gauntlet. I wasn't worried about any of the traps, turrets, or enemies on my way to the end. What I was worried about was the fight against the overboss, Coulter. I had exhausted most of my combat resources in Pickman Gallery, Dunwich Borers, and the Museum of Witchcraft. Coulter has this electrified power armor suit that can be deactivated by hitting him with a squirt gun, but I'd still need good weapons to actually kill him. I was fully prepared to suffer through the longest, most difficult, and stupidly unnecessary part of this video, but when I got to the locker room right before the arena, I found that the game really did want me to succeed. There are all sorts of explosives and ammo in this room, enough that I was able to replenish my resources and hopefully stand a chance against Coulter. I am very proud to say that I didn't die a single time during this fight. Although my new friend Porter Gage wanted me to stick around to become the new overboss, I had some house decorating to get to back in the Commonwealth. All Hallows Eve was a Creation Club quest that was added to the base game earlier this year following the Fallout 4 Next Gen update and the release of the Fallout TV show on Amazon Prime. It's tied to several other quests about the Enclave, but this is the only Halloween one, and in my opinion, it's the easiest. All I had to do was go to the Harbor Master Hotel in downtown Boston and enter a side room for the New England Technocratic Society. Inside, it looks like they were having a Halloween party before the bombs fell. There are colorful decorations and artificial fog everywhere. The room contains several feral ghouls, some of which are wearing Halloween costumes like jack-o'-lantern helmets. These are the former members of the New England Technocrat Society. After killing them all and taking their cool Halloween hats, I went down a hallway that leads to 4 numbered rooms. In these rooms are various Halloween scenes, a medical office where organs have been put in jars, a starry graveyard, a group of teddy bears doing some sort of electric shock therapy, and skeletons carving pumpkins. The number of notable items correlates to the password on a locked door at the end of the hallway. Inputting the code correctly, I got to the room that holds what I really came here for, the Picket Fences Magazine Halloween Special Edition. This unlocks unlocks all sorts of Halloween decorations and settlement building, which is exactly what I'm planning on doing next. There's also a few more unique helmets in this room, these ones modeled after the fictional decapitalist robots from the Unstoppables comics. I took all of that, then went back to Sanctuary to decorate the Soul Survivors pre-war house for Halloween. So this is the pre-war house after I've decorated it for Halloween. As you can see, I've set up dog meat with a little dog house outside, but that's not really the main part. We have some tombstones on the front lawn, along with this thing, this scary tree. We have some jack-o'-lanterns, of course, carved by the people who live here, which is just me and dog meat, I guess. Here's our car, you know, not functional, so I thought I would decorate it. But really, all the fun is inside, so let's go inside. The orange door matches perfectly, by the way. I didn't put this orange door up. This is by default, and you can't remove it, so I love this. So you step inside, and most of the things are in this room. Over here at the dining table, we have some people, you know, carving jack-o'-lanterns. Here's Pickman's blade being used to cut into the pumpkins. Somebody was here eating the cracked Deathclaw egg. I realized I couldn't take the pristine one out of my inventory. Over here in the oven, you might notice some hand bones. Seems like somebody was cooking somebody else in here. Here on the kitchen island, we have, of course, the Picket Fences Halloween special in the center. I also just put up the Sentry Bot model that I got early in the run, just because I think these little robot models are cute. Here's all of the specimen jars. These are all 5 of them. We have a bloatfly, a brain, a heart, a fish, and I honestly can't tell what this is, some sort of alien? Over here we have one of my favorite posters in the game, this horror movie poster, which is obviously based on a real horror movie. We have a little gourd, because it's Halloween. Another sort of person cooking a person situation going on in the fireplace. And then here on the coffee table, we are painting a decapitalist helmet with, of course, red paint, definitely not a bucket of blood. Heading into the other rooms, the bathroom is fairly normal. I did add something in here, though. I left this room, the laundry room, completely the same. There's really nothing spooky about laundry. In fact, I would say laundry is the opposite of scary. Not doing your laundry is scary. And here is my bedroom, nothing too special. I did put up Kremp's tooth because I love this weapon. I've actually really grown to love it. I like this big spider web item. I use this outside. And in the next room, this used to be Sean's room, but because, you know, I don't really care about Sean in this run, he doesn't really matter to me, I turned it into the Halloween party room, so we have some chairs for people to hang out, another one of these spider webs. I locked up a witch in jail. She's in jail for not enjoying the party enough. We have this Nuka-Cola Quantum Cauldron that's just boiling away in the middle of the room. Don't touch that, you'll die. Here's the sign to tell you not to touch it. And then over here is our table of, you know, parts and pieces. And then, of course, another jack-o'-lantern and some blood and guts and stuff. Halloween is a celebration of the darker parts of the world, and oh my god, did I get dark in this video. From the sacrificial knife as my main weapon to my new habit of cannibalism, I feel that I've covered enough darkness till the next Halloween to come. The Wasteland's a scary place. Stay safe, and happy Halloween.